Well, all around us, people carry burdens. We know that. It could be poverty, it could be addiction, homelessness. And we hear a lot about wanting to help others. Maybe we've said that ourselves. I know that I have. But who is actually doing the work? Boots on the ground. Well, today we are going to show you exactly that right here on The Current Temp. Thank you for joining us, friends. I'm Joey Solopek. I want to welcome my friend Eric Barnett. He's here from the Warriors Center of Memphis. We're going to be talking to Eric in just a moment about the Warriors Center. You're going to want to know about this organization. Before we do that, very quickly, thank you to our fantastic partners and sponsors at Lexus of Memphis. You guys know how I feel about not just the product, but more importantly, the men and women behind that product. They are phenomenal. I'm big on customer service. I happen to know that Eric is too, and that makes all the difference in the world when you're dealing with anything. And so go by and tell those folks hello. All right, Eric, first of all, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Tell us, what is the Warrior Center all about? What does the Warrior Center do?
We are a frontlines ministry that is, we work with people with life-controlling issues, and that could mean homelessness, that can mean addiction, alcohol, drugs, different things, bad attitudes. I mean, you name it. They can come across in lots of ways, and we work with those type of people that generally, because of those life-controlling issues, end up in really bad positions, and then they are looking for help. They end up places that they never would have thought they would have been years before, and so they reach out to us.
Okay, now the Warrior Center has got, and correct me if I'm wrong, places for both men and women in several locations around Memphis. Is that correct?
Correct.
How does somebody, in the very beginning, how do they find their way to one of those doors?
Most of the time it's word of mouth. We've been around now. Last year was 25 years.
Okay.
So we've had a pretty good footprint around for quite a while. So a lot of it's word of mouth. Sometimes people find it on the internet searches. You have some judges. You have courts. You have lawyers. You have
all walks of life.
All walks of life that are sending people our name to contact when they run into it. So we find a lot of people coming in from just all walks of life. Sometimes they're just off the street. Sometimes one of our people are out driving around, see somebody homeless, stop, and next thing you know, here they are in the building.
Now, I know you have a military background. Before you ever got involved with this, right. This imagery has a lot of warrior military type
Right.
imagery. What's the connection? How did the name come about?
Well, the name came about interesting. As people deal with any kind of addictions, when they are in those roles they didn't expect to be, but to get out of those, it basically takes a warrior.
A fighter's mentality.
A fighter's mentality. You know, we believe that the evil world system is there to steal, kill, and destroy, and that is what it's doing to these people. And to get out of that and to be able to hold the line and to move forward in life, it takes a warrior's mentality. And so that's how the name originally came about.
That helps me, because at first glance, my brain would think, okay, this is like the VA. This is only for ex-military. It's
Right.
not. It's more about the mentality it takes to battle addiction or whatever it is you're battling.
Correct.
All right. This is one of my more interesting parts I wanted to get to. Explain to me how spirituality, faith, plays into the program. Somebody walks in the door. How does faith become a part of the process?
Right. Well, going back to what I said a minute ago, we believe that the evil world system is behind it.
Explain that.
The demonic world, the demonic realm, is back in the background, and it is Satan is wanting to steal, kill, and destroy. And what does he want that on? He wants to do that to people. And so we believe that to be able to fight that battle, you need to have a scriptural basis. You need to have a Christ-centered basis. And so that's the foundation that we use to build off of.
See, I love that, because you're exactly right. You've identified the opposition,
Right.
and you've stated this is what we're going to have to equip you with to fight this battle. I think that's brilliant. All right, so let's get to this. Tying into the whole Warriors Center branding, explain to me when somebody arrives explain the military structure in spiritual boot camp. I love that phrase that I saw, spiritual boot camp.
Right. So the military type structure is when they come into boot camp, and we can come back to what that looks like. But they come in there, and it's a 28-day spiritual boot camp.
Okay, it's a 28-day program.
28-day program for the boot camp.
Okay.
And so they come in, they do that, and then they move into the rest of it. And as they go through the stages of the program, they rank up, and they go through the ranks.
So they rise or progress.
Right.
Okay.
And then once they get to the point of graduating, and it's a one-year program, when they get up there, how is it that this whole piece works together? They have spent the year in the Bible. They have, on their graduation night, it's just theirs. It's them and their graduation. They get up there, they give their testimony, but the cool part is there are 50 Bible passages that they have to memorize through the program as they rank up, and they say those 50. And those are all things that they need for life skills, dealing with the attacks, all that. So that's they call them the battle verses, and they learn those.
I love that. You're giving them the armor that is talked about in the Bible. You're putting armor on these folks. Okay. When someone walks through the door, what, from your experience, what are their most urgent needs? Are they physical? Are they spiritual? Is it practical? Maybe a combination? Does one stand out? When they walk in, what hits you the most?
Depending on where they're coming from, whether they're coming from jail, they're coming from prison, they're coming from a homeless camp somewhere. So it could be physical needs. Most of the time, what's got them just beat down to the point of they're ready to come in, it really becomes more of a spiritual battle. They've been drugged through the dirt. They've been beat up by life. And it comes into that side of it more so than anything. Okay,
part of when I was doing my research is you're putting men and women back out into the community who go on to become leaders or pastors. I was seeing in ministries, or they're working, they're building. What does that look like once they've come through the program and they're on their way out? What happens to them?
So through the whole program, we are building life skills and job skills.
Okay.
Because most of the people, when they come in, especially this younger generation coming up, they just don't have much life skills.
True.
And so as part of even like what we do, the basics are you have to take a shower every day. Some of these people don't even think about that. You have to clean clothes. You have to have the laundry done. You have to strip your bed and have the sheets washed. So there's just some simple things like that. But a lot of them, they come in there and they don't really have an idea of what real work is, and the idea that I have to get up and I have to produce and get out of bed. So you're learning these things, and we've got different ways for different trades and different things that we're working on. But as they progress, you kind of get a feel for, is this somebody who looks like they might want to stay and be in the ministry?
Or what their aptitude is.
Yeah.
How long is someone normally in? Or is there a normal?
The men's center and the women's centers, they a little bit different. The average stay is probably about 4 to 5 months for guys. Average women about 7 months maybe. And
I believe you've also got it set up that if their children are involved, they're welcome too. Is that right?
Sure.
Okay.
To come visit and trying to get families back involved.
Which is critical.
Right.
What are some of the vocations they're learning? What are some of the things they can learn to do? And I would imagine, like you said, you're trying to figure out their aptitude at the same time. What's going to be a good fit? Right. What are some things they can learn?
So we have been historically almost fully internally generated on funding. And so
explain that, because this is critical.
Well, a lot of charities and stuff only rely on donations.
From the outside.
From the outside. We have historically had a very small amount. I mean, we're 95% internally generated.
You're generating your own funds.
Money that keeps the doors open.
That's
and
tough.
The beds
that
open.
is tough.
It's really tough. And so one of the things that for years that was done was just flipping houses, painting, remodeling, those type of things was a big portion of it. And guys learned job skills. And so that was one aspect of it. and then we open thrift stores, and the girls are working in the stores and they're learning those type of trades. We also do a lot of event staffing.
Okay.
And so they are out there, and a lot of that's out of town. They travel and go out of town, do event staffing, from NASCAR races to IKEA events to the Super Bowl.
Fascinating.
And so they've done all these things over the years. And then locally, we have a lot of those types of things. And then also we work with companies locally that need labor, and so they will reach out to us, and our people, of the 262 beds that we currently have across all of our centers, hardly anybody has any income, any funds. We don't take insurance, and so there's no income from them coming in. So we go out there and we find these jobs, these contract jobs, where they go to these companies, they're able to work there, and then once they graduate, if the company likes them and they've had plenty of time to work with them, and they want to keep them,
right,
that job's theirs.
It's like being an intern.
Yeah.
That's
So they
fantastic.
get the job.
Okay. So I was kind of going through all the things Warrior Center deals with. You provide rehabilitation, transitional housing, which is a big deal. You said you got over 250 beds, and I think you're trying to grow that, if I remember reading that. Food, shelter, clothing, job training. Tell me, as you've gone through this and been a part of that process, how has that affected your outlook or your ideas or your faith? How has that impacted you?
One thing, I didn't come from this background whatsoever. I'm one of maybe two, maybe three people in the whole organization that didn't come from this background. So I had the kind of that mentality that a lot of people do. Man, they're lazy. Just get a job.
Just pull your pants up and let's go.
Get it done. And I didn't really realize until I got in there, in 2013 and moving forward, at how much that's not always the case. Matter of fact, some of these people are real hustlers. Maybe not always legal, but they're real hustlers.
They work.
Yeah. Go downtown, see how fast they hustle you out of $20.
Right.
Right. But, I had that mentality that this is just because people are lazy, they don't care. But that's really not the case. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of things in their background. There's a lot of reasons that got them to where they are. And then they get to a certain point and they just kind of get stuck.
Right.
So that was one of the things. And then, when I was a kid growing up, I felt like the Lord was going to call me into the ministry as a kid. And I just honestly did not want to do that. I did not. I was like, I'm not doing that. I kind of went my own way, did my own thing. And then I got into the early 2000s and started teaching a Bible class, and just the hunger for that came back. And then I had that feeling that God was going to put me in ministry again, but I didn't know how, didn't know when. And I just kind of kept doing what I was doing. And I didn't change anything, just teaching, studying scripture, doing that, just kept doing what I was doing. And then eventually I end up at the Warriors Center. And I knew that was where I was supposed to be. And as I got there and started to do it, the first thing that I started doing was I started teaching the Bible classes in the boot camp. And I started redoing the curriculum on that type stuff. And then over the years it grew. And now my main job is working with staff, training our staff, and I get to lead Bible studies, staff Bible studies, anytime I want. I get to talk to them about their walk. I get to teach them these life skills that they didn't have. But here they are working in the ministry, and they're doing these things, and we're able to get them and teach them and bring them up, and to watch them grow and thrive in that, and to build this family, if you will. You ask our people, they consider it a family.
Yeah.
And families argue and families fight, but reality, it's a family. And so that was. I'm an outsider coming in, and I have been adopted into this family for all these years. And so there's a different faith-based family, if you will, that you just don't necessarily experience when you're just in a church. It's different.
You said a couple of things that jump out at me before we wrap this up. Number one, you said you're sort of the anomaly because most of the people have come through the program. That's a huge testimony to the program.
Sure.
That you've got people that came through it that said, I want to be a part of this going forward.
Right.
They're not running from it. They're investing even more of their time in it. And you also mentioned this. So often we see things like homelessness or addiction and we want to label it and put it in a box, but you can't do that. And as believers, we're all fractured. We're all fractured. Everybody has our own faults and problems, and some have much harder past than others that can lead to addiction and homelessness, things that we have no idea about. So I just thought this was a critical conversation to have because I have lived here my whole life. I did not know enough about the Warriors Center. Been here 25 years and still growing, and I have a lot of respect for the boots on the ground, like I mentioned at the very beginning. You said this, you said front line. I got a lot of respect for anybody on the front line. I don't care if you're a firefighter, a policeman, or if you're working at the Warriors Center. Right. You're out there dealing with life and all the things that sin heaps upon us. Right. And so I just want to make sure I'm saying thank you to the Warriors Center, and I hope that we're opening some eyes for some folks about what's out there. I love the military backdrop, the spiritual boot camp, the fact that you're walking alongside them. So as we wrap this up, what would you like for Memphis just to know? If you had to wrap it up into, hey, understand what we're doing or what we're trying to accomplish, what would you say?
I think we are trying to make inroads into the city and really the surrounding area to give people hope, give them a place to find rest, to find a path forward.
And purpose.
Getting them growing, getting them moving. And that's, a lot of times it's the purpose that drives them to be that warrior and keep going. If you lose hope, you lose purpose, you just go back into what you were doing. And that's what we're really trying to do. And ultimately, one of these days moving forward, we hope to have a women with children's home. That's one of the things that's in our future that we're hoping for and working toward, because there's just not many places for that. But we have recently partnered with two places that can house women with children or pregnant women, because we're not capable of doing that currently, right. But we have started working with some places. But that's kind of, we've been around 25 years. We're hoping to perfect, that's probably not the right word. We're hoping to get good with what we do in this Mid-South region so that sometime in the future this model could be taken to other places and other cities.
Yeah, and I want to close with this. I want everybody listening, watching to hear me. What a big impact it makes when somebody believes in you.
Sure. When
somebody actually says you're worthy and worthwhile of our time and love, that has an impact. It gives them purpose, and then they can become positive lights going forward. All right, with that being said, tell me how, I love this. It was one of the pieces of paper you gave me. Donate, volunteer, or partner. For people that are watching this and thinking, hey, this sounds worthwhile. I want to learn more. I want to help out. What do they do?
The website has got basically everything on it, www.warriorscenter.org. There's a page on there how you get contact and ways to help, volunteer application, information there. We have people that come on a regular basis to our different locations in the evenings, and they get to teach. They get to get up and speak to people. We have that option. There's on there for donations. Every one of our centers have a different location where you can choose to donate for them. We have the thrift stores.
Tell me where those are. If somebody wants to visit a thrift store to help.
One of them is in Bolivar, Tennessee, which at Bolivar we have a women's center and a men's center. And so there's that one. And then Olive Branch, there is a thrift store there. And that one is the first one. It's the
flagship.
It's the flagship. It is definitely the flagship. And I would say donations are great, but come in, check out the stores. The stores are really unique because the girls work in there, and we have just a lot of regulars And some of those regulars come in every single day. And honestly, I think that a lot of them come in just to see the girls.
Just to visit.
They become friends. They hang out,
Yeah.
but they come in every day. And so it's building back into their communities. And so ultimately in the future, we're wanting a store for every location. And we just
Anything in Memphis yet?
not a thrift store in Memphis.
Let's get on that, Memphis,
Yeah.
if you're watching. But I love this. So you really, I think you're hitting the nail on the head with a hammer. Money is always great. Money helps in all areas,
Right.
but you've got other ways you can help.
You can help other ways.
Right. Hey, listen, Eric, thank you. This was not that painful. You did a great job. You did a great job. Hey, friends, Eric Barnett, the Warriors Center. Check out the website. Please reach out to them and pay this forward. And if you'd like to comment on this, you know how to do it. You get in touch with me or the team by email, thecurrenttemp@gmail.com. You can suggest a future episode or make a comment, or if you're looking for a connection to somebody like the Warrior Center, we can help facilitate that as well. Eric Barnett, thank you for joining us. Don't forget the warriorscenter.org. Check that out. You guys have a great week.